Morning everybody. So I've been noticing in a lot of the groups that people are taking these lemon cymbals and converting them over to be a hi-hat, and I'm going to show you how to do that, and it'll work with a legit hi-hat stand. So if you look on the bottom of these cymbals, they do have the cutout for the anti-rotation and the swing motion from Roland. So you are going to need one of the anti-rotation stoppers from Roland. So let's get to it. I'm going to pan the camera down and show you what I have in front of me and how to do this. Okay, so we have an anti-rotation stopper here. This one is actually one that I bought off of Amazon, and it's aluminum. I'm going to include the link with this post in the video to show you where I got this one from. It's $9, 10 after, it's like $9.99. It's going to come with your standard kind of screw to set it in. For the purpose of this, we're actually going to use an M6 by 8mm socket set screw. And you can buy these at Home Depot, Lowe's, pretty much any hardware store. You only want it to be 8mm. You don't want it to be any longer than that. It can be a little bit shorter if you want it, but not any longer. We're going to need blue thread locker, 242 Loctite. We're just going to put a little bit of it in there just to keep the screw from backing out, and it prevents us from really having to torque it down a lot. And then we're obviously going to need our hi-hat clutch that comes with a hi-hat stand, and we're going to use a cymbal felt as well. And then we've got an Allen here. I believe this one is a 3mm. So the way we're going to do this, we're going to disassemble the hi-hat clutch and get rid of the felts. We're not going to need those. We're going to take both of the screws here and move them all the way to the top, or both of the nut washers here, move them all the way to the top. And we're going to go ahead. And this is just rubber in the cymbal. There's no electronics on the inside of that. So we're just going to take this and force it through. And we want to make sure that both of these washers are all the way up to the top. And you'll see why in a second. So we're going to go ahead. Now this anti-rotation thing here, the reason I said you're going to want an aluminum one is because you're going to have to bore this hole out here. And I used a Dremel just to make it a little bit wider, because the hi-hat clutch will fit through the standard size hole at the bottom, but inside of there's a little ridge that prevents this from sitting too far down onto a cymbal stand. So we're going to actually need to make that wider so we can put this all the way onto our hi-hat clutch. The standard Roland ones are a much harder metal, so you can do it with one of those, but you'll need a little bit more patience. And with this, it's aluminum, you can get it done pretty quick. So once we have that bored out, I've already got my set screw in here, but you would just go ahead and pre-put it down in there, put a little dab of Loctite in it. I've already done all of that. And then we're gonna screw it in away from where we'll plug our cable into, because that way we'll have a little bit more room to work with. We can get our Allen screwdriver here at a sharper angle into it. We want this to sit down pretty far to the bottom. And you don't have to over tighten it. Like I said, we've got the blue Loctite on it, and you don't want to over tighten it because you don't want to damage the threads too bad on there in case you ever wanted to reuse this hi-hat clutch again. Then we'll just pull it through. And then we'll go ahead and push this one down here and just lightly put it on here. Now, when you look at the Roland hi-hats, it's basically the same thing. On the bottom of these, though, they have a rubber piece here that'll make contact with the top of the hi-hat clutch. And unfortunately, this is not going to have one on it because this was never designed to be a hi-hat. But you can see it does have 6 screws. If you've got one of these laying around, you could take it off and put it on there and use it, and it'll work great. It's just rubber, so when it makes contact with the hi-hat clutch, it's not loud. But for the purpose of this, we're just going to use a simple felt washer here, and that's actually going to make contact with the hi-hat clutch. Now, if you buy like the Go E drums, I believe they already have a felt washer to go with that. So I just had one laying around. This is what we're going to use for the purpose of this video. And you can also see with the Roland hi-hat that they have this adjustment here, and that's going to be used when you're calibrating the hi-hat. So we're going to be able to replicate the same thing with this washer here that we're going to tighten down, and then this one just go up here and lock it into place so it doesn't move. I'm going to reposition the camera over by the kit and by my module and show you guys how to do this and show you the functionality of that as well. And we'll go ahead and put the cymbal felt on here, and like I said, this is just going to make contact with that, and then as the cymbal goes down, it's going to make contact here with the hi-hat controller. That way it doesn't make any loud noises or anything. Put our cymbal on. We'll go ahead and plug up the cable. This is on a TD27 module. I'll get a little bit better of an angle here so you can see it. We'll go into System, Trigger, Hi-hat, and we can see here, we'll close that down. We're at 70 right now. We want to get it down to around 80. Those little triangles, or the arrows there that are pointing into it, will light up as like a solid triangle. So to do that, we're going to adjust this bottom washer here, and we're just going to tighten it down, and you can see on the module that it's moving and changing with it as we tighten this down. Might have to kind of push this down because with that felt washer on it, it's going to make it want to lift up a little bit, so you kind of need to put it into place there. So you can see we've got those both lit up. We're good to go there. So now we're just going to put this in place. So it shows that we're open over here, and I'll give you guys a little sound demo on it. All right, guys, so there you have it. That's how you're going to be able to convert one of these cymbals to work with your Roland module if you need to adjust them like that, or just how to make one of these cymbals work on a hi-hat stand and work with pretty much any module. So take it easy and have a great day.